I feel like this is one of the most important videos that I have made to date. Hello, angels, and welcome. Welcome to my terrace. Welcome to this video. I am going to be honest that I feel like this is one of the most important videos that I have made to date, and I'm so excited to be here. I know that it's been a while and things are really coming together. If you know my story, you know that my first part of my journey has really been all about finding my purpose, like figuring out why am I here? What am I here to do? And I discovered that. And my purpose is to be part of creating heaven on earth. After discovering that, my next question was, okay, how do I create heaven on earth? And the first thing I became aware of is that it's something that I must create from within. It's a frequency that I must activate from within. So that has been my journey in the last many years. And since I've really rooted that in quite well, desiring to spread it to more people. And that's how I started my coaching. I started doing the work that I do, helping people activate their life purpose. If you want to know more about that, I have more details in the description below. And today I really feel like a lot of things landed when it comes to what can we do collectively to create heaven on earth. I want to put it a little bit into perspective because you might be thinking, what does she mean, heaven on earth? And this sounds so vague, or perhaps you're already feeling it in your bones. You already know that this is what you're meant to do as well. And the way that I see it, heaven on earth is the potential reality that we have right here, right now. A world full of synergy and harmony where every being gets to live out their highest expression, where violence, sickness, entropy, and decay no longer exist because we operate in alignment with the laws of nature and the laws of universe. And you may be thinking, oh, this sounds boring. This sounds too good to be true. This is already realms that exist on a higher frequency level. And it's in fact where the earth is heading. And many times when we're thinking it sounds too boring or too good to be true, it's actually the traumatized part of us that's speaking. And this is what I'm going to refer to a little bit today. But of course, if you don't resonate with heaven on earth, maybe you don't want to watch this video because that's what we're going to talk about today. But if you do, and if you have this part inside of you that knows that you're here to be part of creating heaven on earth, that knows that something amazing out there is waiting and you are being called to it, then you're at the right place. So stay tuned. So now when I explain heaven on earth, maybe you think, oh, but that sounds so far away. How are we going to do that? Like, look at the world, look at the news, look at the wars, look at everything. And I totally understand that. But the truth is, it's actually not that far away. It's actually not that far away at all. It's actually just a few decisions away because the truth is we do have already the knowledge and technology to be able to create a very beautiful and abundant society for every human on this planet, even the humans in the third world countries that are suffering and living in poverty. Perhaps you've heard of Buckminster Fuller, who was an architect in the 80s, who actually created models of housing integrated with nature, like modern housing, that have been able to host and feed up to 10 times as many people as we are on the planet today. So when people are saying we're too many people, we're overpopulated, no, we're not. We just need to upgrade how we live, basically. Also, perhaps you've heard of permaculture. It's in fact possible just by respecting nature to create abundant fruit forests. And if you go into the jungle, if you go into, any natural place in a warmer climate, you're going to see that nature automatically grows an abundance of food for us, and we actually don't have to even interfere that much. It's natural. Of course, humans will have to upgrade their eating habits because they're not going to find Burger King trees, right? We're going to find the fruit trees that we're actually meant to eat and live off and thrive off. And then you may say, but there's so many violent people, there's so many evil people, there's so many bad people, there are people who start wars. Yes, these are very traumatized people that are under influence of lower frequencies because of their traumas, but we have also all the tools for trauma healing. We have even shamanic tools for entity removals. We have, past life healing tools, childhood healing tools, sexual trauma healing tools. These are all the tools that I work with. It's absolutely possible to heal and create heaven on earth. I would say if we were to put a timeline, if we focused all our energy in this direction right now and there were no interference from lower frequencies, probably within 6 to 12 months, we could create a really incredible society with abundant living for everyone. So that poses the question, okay, what's getting in the way? What do we need to do to actually be able to create this? And this is the question that's been on my mind in the last few days. And I don't really frantically search for answers. I just pray to gain clarity because I know the answer already exists, right? And today it landed after a long hike to the top of the mountain, visiting the monastery that's near my house here up in this mountain, and praying to be in alignment with my highest purpose, praying to be of the highest service that I can. When I came home and I sat on my couch after a nap, boom, it just landed. I was like, wow. It was literally like it literally landed in my body. And it came after listening to an audiobook on my hike this morning by Bessel van der Kolk. And I'm trying to remember the name of the book. I think The Body Keeps the Score is the name. I'm going to put a photo here. And in this book, I'm not finished with it yet, but in this book, he explains how when someone is deeply traumatized, like from childhood abuse or war veterans or something like that, the system and the body actually wants to keep replaying and reliving the trauma because it becomes familiar to the body. And it's what it knows. And that's why very traumatized people can end up being very violent and can end up actually passing on the trauma, right? Because they are just reliving the only thing that they know. And this often happens when the trauma is unresolved because it stays stuck in the body, it stays stuck in the system. And if we were to look at it from a shamanic perspective, I work a lot with shamanism, it's often also because these traumas create gaps in the systems that then invite in negative entities who then are the ones feeding off you reliving the trauma and these negative patterns. And that's why it can seem so difficult to overcome because there is like an entity there that's actually kind of trying to keep the pattern in place. However, we are the powerful ones, and there are many tools to remove these as well. But what he specifically focuses on in the book is actually how we can move it and heal it through the body and how the body is the portal. And that made me think back to an interview I did during the lockdown. Wallace Thornhill, who is one of the founders of the Electric Universe, which is a different theory on how the universe exists, a different theory on cosmology, actually explaining how the universe is electric and not so much gravity-based as we know. And he basically points back to a lot of events that, have been in myths and that we've also seen in cave paintings and that have even been documented. I'm not going to go in depth with that here, but you can read more about that below. And there's an amazing documentary I'm also going to put down below that's really mind-opening. I highly recommend seeing it. And what I remember Wallace pointed back to was that we experienced collectively a very traumatic event as humans when the planet Earth entered the solar system as we know it now. Because before, I believe he says we were only in the solar system with Saturn or something. I don't remember exactly the details, but we were in a different solar system in the Milky Way, right? Or in the galaxy. And we entered the solar system as because the universe, according to the theory, is electric. When you suddenly add like a new charge into a solar system, there's going to be a rearrangement in the entire solar system, electrically speaking, and that caused like major like electrical events in the sky. Like imagine a thunderstorm times 1000, both in sound and like visually. And actually he explains that according to that theory, the scars we see on Mars are actually from the electrical discharge between Earth and Mars that happened when we entered the galaxy. So you can, or the solar system, so you can imagine like the kind of how big these events were, and to the humans that were living at that time, it was, terrifying and catastrophic, and I'm sure a lot of humans died, and a lot of animals died. But the ones that did survive, you can imagine when something like that happens and you have no clue to explain it. Like you have no idea what just happened, but it was literally like traumatizing to the deepest core of you. What humans started to use as an explanation was that it was the gods that were angry, right? And this is where we have a lot of these kind of ideas in mythology and religion that God punishes humans and all these kind of things comes from actually that event. And he explained how for most people this event is still stored somewhere in the DNA and it's still unprocessed, right? Because if you look at all of us, we can actually trace ourselves back to that one ancestor who survived the event. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here, right? And so I realized the impact of this today because I work with shamanism, I work with ancestral karma clearing, and within the ancestral karma clearing and shamanism, we always learn that whatever trauma hasn't been healed by an ancestor is passed on and passed on and passed on. And so if our ancestors didn't heal this immense trauma, it is literally still there in your DNA right now. And as I learned from Bessel van der Kolk, when a trauma is still there, we are going to relive it. We're going to recreate it. So no wonder we're recreating wars. We're recreating catastrophic events. We're recreating all of these, violence and separation and abuse, all of these things. And I think we can truly trace it back to that one event that happened, that caused us so much trauma as humans. And it's a very important time right now to actually realize this, because as the solar activity is increasing on the planet, as we're moving towards becoming solar beings, and we're moving towards a system where we're actually not going to have the moon anymore, but we're going to have the sun ruling the planet, we're going to become more and more powerful creators. And the subconscious is going to come more into the light. And so we're going to be asked to clear this, because if not as powerful creators, guess what? We're going to create a similar happening, and not by the universe, probably, most probably humans doing it to themselves. And you can also think back to Atlantis, all of these things. I think most likely, again, was just a recreation of this trauma. So it becomes suddenly very pivotal and important for us to actually recognize where in our body, deep down, are we expecting catastrophe. And I would love for you to reflect upon this, because despite all of the work I've done on myself, when I go really deep into my shadows, I notice the parts of me that are expecting catastrophe. I notice the parts of me that are reading the stories of, the world going under and all of these things. And I can trace it back to this event. I know that it comes from there. I know it comes from that part that experienced it. And rather than living terror, would want to expect it to happen again, right? And because we are becoming more and more powerful creators, the way to create heaven on earth is truly by healing, trauma healing every single individual on this planet. It's an internal job. It truly, truly is. And I would also like to refer to the movie Tomorrowland. Maybe some of you have seen it. It's a very interesting movie. I think it points to a lot of truth. It's a movie where basically the world is going to go under because most people actually run from that fear in the subconscious, and that's exactly what the movie shows, and this is exactly what I'm talking about right now. But there are those few people on the planet that have the capacity to dream a more beautiful world. And so the movie is about finding those people and then bringing them to basically like the shadow side of the planet or behind the scenes of the planet, so that they can spend their energy in creating a beautiful direction for the world. And they end up doing it, of course, through several dramatic events and action and all this kind of stuff. But I think this is very, very, very similar to exactly what's actually happening right now. We need those people like you, like I, who are capable of believing in heaven on earth, who are willing to do the work, the trauma healing work, the inner work, so that we can create this incredible planet together. And we need it now, because things are shifting fast. 2027 is a pivotal year in many ways. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. There are several things that could happen. Either that we reach the point of no return when it comes to new creation. Since I'm also quite sure that we're moving into being run only by the sun and not the moon, it could actually be that there is going to be an event in the galaxy that is a little bit of rearrangement. But if you do the work and you heal the trauma, perhaps, you are capable of like ascending that instead of having to re-experience it, because normally we only have to re-experience trauma when we haven't cleared it inside of us. So if you're not a frequency match to the trauma, you will probably be capable of ascending and not experiencing it. And I believe those are like the two scenarios that I see right now. And regardless of whether it's one or the other, the most important work you have is the work on you, right? The work internally, the work inside yourself. So I really, really want to share this message with you. I really hope you're going to pass it on to someone else who loves this world, who is desiring to create a more beautiful world. Connect with me here on the channel. Connect with me on Instagram. I'm very, very active on Instagram. And I'm also going to do a masterclass on this very specific topic with some tips on what you can implement, because this is going to be so pivotal for us as humans and so powerful for us. So stay tuned. Heaven on earth is a potential reality right now, my loves. It really, really is. And I just encourage all of us to do the best that we can to create it, because even if you think you're just one human among 8-9 billion humans, you are actually the powerful one. And it starts with you. It really, really does. And you have no clue how many people you can positively influence just by doing the work on yourself. There's no time to wait. Let's start now. If you want support and guidance in this is also what I'm doing in my work. I work as a life purpose coach. I work as a healer. I'm not making this video specifically to promote my work. I actually just really want this message out there. But if you feel like, oh my God, Celia, I want to do this, I have no idea where to start, I have no idea what to do, reach out to me, because I have created a whole system that's basically based on how to heal trauma and how to activate what I call your angelic DNA, which is basically just your higher self. The one that's already operating from the new earth, heaven on earth frequency. So reach out to me and let's connect. And I'll be happy to chat with you. Best to reach out to me on Instagram, as I'm more active there. And yeah, share this with someone who needs this message today. We have beautiful work to do on this planet, and there's no time to sleep on it. It's time now to really give it our all. So thank you so much for watching this. By watching this video, you are already part of creating heaven on earth and participating in this frequency. So I'm super proud of you. Let's do this, and I hope you have a beautiful day.